6:42 Eastern, and the Artemis crew is seconds away from being plunged into silence as the members round the far side of the moon. And my screen is going to blue, but it's back now. Very interesting to see the crescent Earth there behind the moon. So the moon blocks all radio and laser signals to Earth, which means the 4 astronauts are not going to hear mission control in Houston. Houston's not going to hear them for 40 minutes or so. But this isn't the first time NASA has been unable to communicate with astronauts in space. During Apollo 11 in 1969, Michael Collins lost signal
of the Orion spacecraft as it flies behind the moon. We expect to regain communications with them in another approximately 40 minutes. This was expected as their spacecraft is now out of direct line of sight with Earth and behind the moon. And this is a poignant moment as it's the first time in over 50 years that we have humans completely unreachable by anyone else on Earth. No matter how distant or secluded, we could reach anyone living on Earth, but while the crew flies behind the moon, it's simply impossible to make contact with them. This is a live view inside the science evaluation room here at Johnson Space Center.
So she was talking about it. That last time was for about 48 minutes while Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin walked the surface of the moon. So for more on this, let's bring in former NASA astronaut Ron Garan. Ron, your thoughts as we no longer have comms with Artemis II.
Yeah, this is a very exciting moment. I'm sure that the crew is still really busy. They're not going to miss a beat, just because they lost contact. But as you just reported, we have blackouts all the time. We call them LOSs, loss of signal. But in an emergency, we can open up those channels and talk. So when we like on the International Space Station, when we hand off from satellite to satellite, or on a Soyuz spacecraft, there were times, probably in excess of 40 minutes, where we've lost comm with the ground because of ground stations. However, like you said, if we needed to, we could get that, or at least the ground could get that communication back. Right now, there's no way to contact the crew for another 38 more minutes.
Do you think that's different psychologically for them?
Maybe things got a lot quieter, and so maybe they can focus.
Maybe they're like,
more.
Phew.
No, the crew on Orion and the crew on the ground are doing a really good job. They're collaborating really well. And so one of the things, if something does go wrong, if there's a malfunction on the spacecraft, an emergency on the spacecraft, the crew for the next, for all the time they're behind the moon, are going to be on their own with that. So it is nice to know that you have a whole bunch of people looking over your shoulder, looking at the spacecraft systems, making sure everything is functioning as it should be. But it's, 40 minutes is not too much of time to be able to be on your own.
And this is the sweet spot, right? Because these next 40 minutes when they're on the far side, is this when they're going to be taking like the lion's share of the pictures and doing the observations, you think? Because by the time they peek back out, they're now on an earthbound trajectory. They're the closest to the moon they're going to be on this mission.
Yes, this is a very busy 40 minutes. It's been a very busy few hours. They're trying to get all the science they possibly can out of this pass, since they're not entering into orbit around the moon. They're just doing a flyby of the moon. And we haven't done it in a long time. And they're seeing parts of the moon that have never been seen before by human eyes. And so, I sat in on the science conference they had a few hours before going behind the moon, and everything is choreographed down to the second. What window they're going to be in, who's going to be taking pictures, what cameras, what lenses, what camera settings, and so they went over all of that. And so it is a very busy time.
Well, Ron Garan, we have really enjoyed having you each and every day of this mission. Come back as many times as you can. Thank you.
Thanks, Lindsay.